Good evening, good evening. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. So, wanted to get on here and talk about and go over the 2023 NFL honors that have been made official and just kind of give my thoughts on them. I also have the link to the ESPN article that goes through each of the winners and why they won. And we're actually going to go over that. We're going to use that as the main reference. But yeah, we're going to go through Coach of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player, I think Man of the Year, MVP. So, got quite a bit to go through. But before we get started, be sure you also check out the link to Game Beauty in the description for a great lineup of video game themed makeup and cosmetic products. And if you're interested in making a purchase, be sure to use the promo code BlitzballChamp, all in caps, and you can get 10% off of your order. So be sure to check that out. Anyway, let's go over each of the winners. First off, we're going to start with, and like I said, the link to this will be in the description so folks can follow along. So, your 2022-2023 Coach of the Year is head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. And here's what it says in this article, and I quote, Coach Daboll took a team that had lost at least 10 games each of the previous 5 seasons and got them to the playoffs in his first year as head coach. He did it with a roster that was flawed and not overly talented. This is really what earned Daboll this honor. The Giants won 9 games despite having their preseason top 4 receivers either on injured reserve, stuck on the bench, or not on the roster by the end of the season. Coach Daboll set the tone right from the start, uniting this group and earning their trust when he went for the 2-point conversion and win against the Tennessee Titans in the final minutes of Week 1. Running back Saquon Barkley specifically mentioned that as the galvanizing moment. Is Daboll his Coach of the Year? He says, I think so, Barkley said, emphatically after the Giants clinched their playoff berth. The voters agreed. End quote. That was written by Jordan Raanan. But I mean, that's a fair argument. I mean, lost 10 games in their last 5 seasons. The franchise has lost 10 games, at least 10 games in each of the previous 5 seasons. Ugh. I mean, you have to admit, this is quite a turnaround for the New York Giants. And I mean, can't really say too much negative about the New York Giants myself because, you know, they've defeated the Carolina Panthers the last 2 meetings. So, yeah. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. So, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. So, congratulations to Brian Daboll winning this season's Coach of the Year. It makes sense. I totally get it. Okay, next up we have Comeback Player of the Year, and to keep it real with you, I 1,000,000% agree with this. In all honesty, I think this probably should have been unanimous. But Comeback Player of the Year ended up being the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith. It says here, and this was written by Brady Henderson, it says, and I quote, Smith doesn't fit the mold of the typical winner of this award because he didn't come back from an injury or a down year per se, but it was a comeback nonetheless. Smith went from a backup for most of the past 7 seasons to a Pro Bowl selection and one of the NFL's best quarterbacks in 2022. I have to agree. His 8 seasons marked the NFL's longest gap between opening day starts since 1971. He wasn't even expected to be the Seahawks starter after they traded Russell Wilson last March, but Smith beat out Drew Lock and never looked back. He finished 6th in total QBR, 60.8, first in completion rate, 69.8%, and 4th in touchdown passes with 30. He broke Wilson's single-season franchise records for completion with 399 completions, passing yards with 4,282, and completion rate, which 69.8. Smith's career season came at the perfect time as he's scheduled to become an unrestricted free agent in March. Oh man, that is actually a good reminder. I did not realize that. Yeah, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent in March. I didn't even think about that. So I don't know what the Seahawks are going to do, but I mean, I would think the Seahawks would have to be strongly considering bringing him back for a little bit longer. I mean, the dude is only, what 31? 30 or 31, I believe? Maybe 32? But, I mean, I think the Seahawks might consider bringing him back. I mean, in their position, I probably would. In their position. Not for Carolina's position, but in Seattle's position. But, I mean, yeah. Geno Smith getting this award makes the most sense. I mean, especially for a guy that really hasn't had a true breakout season in his NFL career until now. So, you know, congratulations to Geno Smith. Definitely well earned, well deserved. Because I mean, 6th in total QBR, first in completion percentage. Like, I mean, I know we played Seattle this year. We did beat Seattle, but still, I mean, him winning Comeback Player of the Year, I 1,000,000% agree with. Definitely agree with. Okay, moving on to Defensive Rookie of the Year, which, looking at the winner, it makes sense with the type of year he's had. So it does make sense. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to the cornerback from the New York Jets, Sauce Gardner. And let's see, this section of the article is quoted by Semini. I don't even know who that is. But here's what it says as far as Sauce Gardner, as far as why he wins this award. It says, and I quote, drafted 4th overall, Garner set 3 individual goals for his rookie season. 1, be selected to the Pro Bowl. 2, make first team All-Pro. And 3, win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And he checks all 3. He lived up to the hype and then some, delivering one of the best individual seasons in franchise history. He became the first Jets rookie to be named first team All-Pro and the 5th Jet to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. The first was Sheldon Richardson back in 2013. Drawing comparisons to former Jets great Darrelle Revis, a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame class 2023, which he made it in, Garner was a shutdown corner from day one. He was remarkably consistent, handling a weekly diet of top wide receivers. He made 2 interceptions, recording a league-high 20 passes defensed, and allowed only 48.1% completion rate as the nearest defender, which ranked 2nd among cornerbacks, this is based off a minimum of 500 coverage snaps, according to Next Gen Stats. He was so good that fans and media reacted with surprise whenever he allowed a completion of longer than 10 yards. With his long frame, 6'3", change of direction, skill, and natural instincts for the position, Gardner was one of the main reasons why the Jets improved to 4th in yards allowed after finishing 32nd, dead last, in 2021. Whew. I mean, I can definitely understand why he got Defensive Rookie of the Year. Totally. I mean, I know as Carolina Panther fans, we talk a lot about J.C. Horn and what he's done this season, but, I mean, one can definitely argue Sauce Gardner, Sauce Gardner versus J.C. Horn, I mean, it's a fair argument. It's a very fair argument. Even though, Sauce Gardner, came into the league this season. Of course, JC came in last season. But, I mean, when you think about it, this season was kind of sort of, I guess you could treat like JC Horn's rookie year in a way, even though this was his second year, due to injury, of course. But, I mean, Sauce Gardner winning this makes sense. I mean, I was hopeful. And don't get me wrong, JC Horn still had a pretty decent sophomore season. He did. But, I mean, only allowed a 48.1% completion rate as the nearest defender, second among cornerbacks. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. First rookie, the first Jets rookie to be named to the first team All-Pro. Yeah. I mean, somebody set those goals, backed it up, checked all three. Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Congratulations to Sauce Gardner. And I don't know if one of my friends is seeing this who's a Jets fan, but he's probably going to throw this in my face later, but it is what it is. And the funny thing, moving on to Offensive Rookie of the Year, is also won by a New York Jets player that came in the form of wide receiver Garrett Wilson. Wow, so the New York Jets rookies sweeping the Rookie of the Year categories in offense and defense. Okay, so it was Rich Cimini who wrote both of these parts of the article. But check this out. Here's the deets on Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is the first player in Jets history to win NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Let me repeat that. Garrett Wilson is the first player in Jets history, New York Jets franchise history, to win NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yes, really. After a few drop passes in training camp and an uneventful regular season opener, Wilson busted out in Week 2 with a game-winning touchdown reception against the Cleveland Browns. After that, he quickly ascended to the number 1 wide receiver role in the Jets offense. Drafted 10th overall, he finished with 83 catches for 1,003 yards and 4 touchdowns, becoming the first Jets rookie, the 23rd rookie in NFL history, to reach the 1,000-yard receiving plateau. He compiled those numbers with below-average quarterback play, illustrating how dominant he was at times. He led all rookies in receptions and receiving yards. What separated Wilson from the rest was, well, his separation ability. With tremendous body control and sneaky stop-at-start speed, he was able to pull away from defenders at the top of his routes and in the open field with the ball in his hands. At times, he carried the passing attack, as he recorded 6 games with at least 90 yards and 5 games in which he was targeted at least 11 times. The Jets have a checkered history when it comes to drafting offensive players, but they struck gold with Wilson. End quote. Now, the only thing that I wonder, could he end up being in another DJ Moore situation where, as years pass, he doesn't really have a strong, great quarterback? Because as was mentioned, the Jets had below average quarterback play this season. So DJ Moore has been in the same similar situation up to now, having multiple different quarterbacks throwing the ball to him and still managing to rack up a career 5,000 plus receiving yards. But could the same sort of thing happen with Garrett Wilson unless the Jets, I guess, get a better, stable quarterback? I don't know. I don't know if they've given up on Zach Wilson, but I mean, we'll see. But wow. Congratulations to both Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson taking both rookie honors as Jets players. That's crazy. It's really, really crazy. Okay, moving on to Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year goes to the San Francisco 49ers defensive end Nick Bosa. Let's see, this section was from Nick Wagoner. This is what he said about Nick Bosa, and I quote, "After a late season win against the Washington Commanders, Bosa, who rarely talks about individual accomplishments, acknowledged that he has dreamed about winning NFL's Defensive Player of the Year award since he was young. Mission accomplished. Bosa was consistently the most dominant defender in the league in 2022, posting a league-leading and career-high 18.5 sacks, along with 51 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 58 quarterback pressures, which is the third most in the league, in 16 games. The honor comes just 2 years after Bosa suffered a torn ACL in his left knee in Week 2 of the 2020 season. Bosa bounced back from the injury with 15.5 sacks in 2021, but felt like he didn't finish with as many sacks as he should have. I think everybody here knows that he is just elite and he's the best, said linebacker Fred Warner in December. He put the stamp on it. That's what you need from your best players to make plays where it matters the most. I'm so happy for him and I'm so proud of him." End quotes. Now, I mean, 18.5 sacks. Goodness gracious. And the year before, 15.5 sacks? Whew. Can you imagine if we just had that type of production on the D-line? Like, even as a whole. Just, not to take anything away from Brian Burns, but whew. And 58 quarterback pressures. Whew. YGM, you better start taking notes. That's all I can say. But congratulations to Nick Bosa, becoming Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, Offensive Player of the Year. Shout out to my nephew Bryson. Hey. This is his favorite player in the NFL. Offensive Player of the Year goes to the Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson. Yes, that's actually my nephew's favorite player in the NFL, which, therefore, he's a Minnesota Vikings fan. Anyway, Kevin Seifert takes care of this portion of the article. It says, and I quote, Jefferson produced one of the best seasons for a wide receiver in NFL history in 2022. He led the league with 128 receptions, became one of 7 players ever to surpass 1,800 yards in a season with 1,809 yards, and made the most iconic catch of the year, a one-handed snag to convert a 4th and 18 during a comeback victory over the Buffalo Bills. Along the way, Jefferson broke team records for catches and yards in a season, held by Pro Football Hall of Fame members Chris Carter and Randy Moss, respectively. He did it all before his 24th birthday and agreed that he has plenty of room to grow. I can always get better at things, he said after the Vikings season ended. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not the perfect receiver. There's always room for improvement, and I'm definitely going to be improving as much as possible this offseason, end quote. And see, and look at that. Even says with that type of season, hey, I can still improve. I can do better. What a player. That's the right kind of attitude to have. Because going over 1,800 yards receiving, that's incredible. That's incredible. How many touchdowns did he have? 8 touchdowns. Okay. But yeah, first in receptions, first in receiving yards. So, I mean, hey. Dude was pretty much the most solid wide receiver this season. You know, I mean, 1,809 receiving yards. 128 receptions. Like, becoming one of 7 players to surpass 1,800 yards in a season. That's crazy. So, I mean, Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, the fact that it went to a wide receiver just, whoo. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, congratulations to Justin Jefferson. You've made my nephew very, very happy. Okay. Now, let's see. Hold up. So, I know it didn't show in this article, but just a heads up, the Walter Payton Man of the Year went to the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Dak Prescott. So he won the Man of the Year award. So congratulations to Dak Prescott, which, you know, he's had, you know, quite a comeback himself. But the only thing I'll say about Dak Prescott is I do wonder if Dak could possibly end up being another Tony Romo, whereas in can make the playoffs, but after making the playoffs, doesn't really do anything more than that. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. But I wanted to be sure to point that one out. So, Walter Payton Man of the Year goes to Dak Prescott. Good stuff. And then the big one, the big one, the MVP. And this goes to somebody who will be playing in this Sunday's Super Bowl. That's right. Winning MVP for the second time in his NFL career, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Now, honestly, I've really felt like it was going to come down to either him or Jalen Hurts. I really felt like it was going to come down between those two. But Patrick Mahomes is now a 2-time MVP in the NFL. So this section was from Adam Teicher. I don't even know if I said that right. Please forgive me if I mispronounced that. Anyway, it says here, and I quote, Mahomes had his second 5,000 yard season of his career. And while he didn't get the 50 touchdown passes as he did in his first MVP season in 2019, he still led the league with 41. But with Mahomes, it's about more than statistics. He lifted the Chiefs onto his shoulders regularly, but never more so than when they needed him the most. The most obvious example came in Week 9 against the Titans, when not much else was working for the Chiefs on offense. Mahomes threw 68 passes and led the Chiefs in rushing with 63 yards. With the Chiefs down by 8 points in the fourth quarter, Mahomes scrambled for 20 yards on a 3rd and 17 to allow them to continue a drive. He finished the drive by scrambling for a touchdown, also on 3rd and long, and then tied the game by running the 2-point conversion. The Chiefs went on to win in overtime. Whew. I mean, it's crazy. Somebody that was a first round pick in 2017 and really didn't get his shot until 2018. But look at what he's become. Look at what he's become. Like, Patrick Mahomes just... Not to mention, the dude is only 27. And I think he's only going to continue to light it up. I mean, franchise quarterback is an understatement for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's getting ready to go to what? His 3rd Super Bowl? I mean, he's 1-1 right now. But he's getting ready to go to his 3rd Super Bowl. Whew. Yeah. Oh, man. Wish we had a Patrick Mahomes on Carolina or the equivalent. But congratulations to Patrick Mahomes for not only winning this season's MVP, but winning his 2nd MVP of his NFL career. And the guy is only going to continue to light it up. And now he's got 2 seasons of over 5,000 yards passing under his belt. Whew. Not only that, takes good care of the ball. I mean, what can I say? I don't know. I'm sure he won't be 100%. Maybe he will. I don't know, but don't sleep on Patrick Mahomes this Sunday. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, those are your 2023 NFL honors. And like I said, each of the winners definitely makes sense. I think they definitely got it right this season with the recipients. They also announced the Hall of Fame class. So let me also mention that as well. But your Hall of Fame class of 2023, cornerback Rondé Barber, head coach Don Coryell, linebacker Chuck Howley, defensive tackle Joe Klecko, cornerback Darrelle Revis, cornerback Ken Riley, left tackle Joe Thomas, linebacker Zach Thomas, and linebacker DeMarcus Ware. So, congratulations to the 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame class. Still very disappointed that Steve Smith didn't make it in, but hopefully next year. Hopefully next year. But, and I'll be sure to put that article in the description as well, so that y'all can get the references for that. But that's pretty much all that I have for this video. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. What did you think about the 2023 NFL honors? Do you agree with them? Do you think they should have been somebody different? You think somebody different should have won MVP? Also, what did you think about this year's Hall of Fame class? Makes sense? You think anybody got snubbed? Or let me know what your thoughts are. And like I said, don't forget to check out Game Beauty as well. But like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can keep up with every time I upload or go live. And thank y'all so much for watching. Much, much appreciated. For Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube, I'm your host, Jason Ingram, and I will see y'all in the next video. Take care. Peace out.